That already, okay, so we'll go ahead and call to order the outgoing Board of Trustees meeting for May 19th of 2025. Kathy, can we get a roll call?
Sure. Kolesnik.
Here.
Lomax.
Here.
Murphy. Robeson. Romero. Lozana. Lichewski.
Here.
Legore.
Here.
Okay. Next up is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So next we have public input, and if you would like to address the board, please come to the front, up by the microphone, and you have 3 minutes. State your name too, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Cindy Webb, and I just wanted to congratulate our newest board members, Ian Kelly, maybe I'm speaking a little too soon, on their new roles as trustees for the Mississippi Valley Library District. I am sure they will be an asset for both libraries. I am looking forward to this new term. And I should put my glasses on. And hope that all library board members will advocate for the library, its staff, and its patrons. Considering the dramatic cuts to the institution of museum and library services and the loss of the AmeriCorps program, it has become even more necessary for library board members to support Mississippi Valley Library District and its various services. Such awful losses cannot be taken lightly. I know the MVLD board has been preoccupied with the culture wars as few other local libraries have. In the Mississippi Library Valley District, workers at the Fairmont City and Council libraries have a simple mission to keep libraries safe, open, and welcoming to all members of the community, no matter who they are. And that is actually a direct quote from the union earlier this month. I am glad that our dedicated and newly unionized library staff can now feel secure in their jobs and in fulfilling the mission of public libraries. To ensure that this move forward continues, I would like to encourage all board members to review the struggles of the past 2 years and choose wisely as to who will be representing and truly supporting the Fairmont City and Collinsville libraries. We all have people in our lives and are those very people who come from all walks of life, regarding race, class, gender, and ability. We all, the library patrons and advocates, deserve to have the same respect afforded to us by our library board members. Again, ask that board members put their very specific and personal beliefs on the back burner and do the job they were elected to do, to represent all. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay, my name's Dorothy Joyce, and I've lived in Collinsville most of my life. And all I wanted to do was tell the library staff, good job on how you rearranged the main floor. It feels light and airy, and I think you guys did a wonderful job. I know the staff worked hard on that. And I just want to say good job. I don't think you guys hear that enough. So, good job.
Thank you.
My name is Rachel Dot.
I'm sorry.
Rachel Dot.
How do you spell that?
Rachel with an EL and a Dot is D-Y-E, like Easter I just want to say thank you, because you don't have to serve on the board. Berlin shouldn't do that, so thank you for doing that. To the staff, you guys are amazing. I have nieces and nephews I bring here, and instead of wanting to go to some kind of arcade or whatever, they always come to the library first, which is really interesting to hear nowadays. And they're starting to learn how much the library really does to you, and they look forward to it. My encouragement and hope as a library patron and a citizen is just going forward in the new couple of years that you're ahead to always think of everybody that comes to the library. I know it's not always easy decisions. I know it's hard to sometimes put things aside that are personal beliefs and things of those nature, but put yourself in another person's shoes when you're getting ready to make a decision that is going to affect somebody else. What if it was you who's in that smaller group that's not always represented or thought about? First of all, they are equal in our community and they're an equal taxpayer, but also this is a place they should be able to look forward to with excitement. It shouldn't be a place they're afraid to go to, or where they wonder about what's my role, what's my part. So I just encourage you to, whatever's been has been. None of us can change that, but I believe you can do that, and I hope that you have open hearts and open minds to do so. The last thing I'll say is I think, this is just me, but I think fear is such a driving factor for all humans. Like fear of the unknown, or fear sometimes like, well, if this information's out there, what will we tell our kids? We don't know how to respond to it, or fear of loss of control. It's a lot of, fear will do a lot of weird things to you. Please be brave. And sometimes it's hard even if because people expect us to act a certain way. Who cares? You have one life to live. You have your moment on this board, however long it is. I'm asking that you screw what everybody else thinks and just do the right thing. I believe in you, and I believe that you can do that. And once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your commitment. Please lead bravely, because every single person is counting on you to do so. No matter their background, no matter their belief, everybody's counting on you. I believe you can do it. And once again, thank you to our excellent library staff. You guys, especially leaders, are great. I worked my whole career with federal, state funding, all the red tape, all that, and you guys are a jack of all trades. And you show up every time, respond professionally, do all the work and gather all that. And it is often a thankless job, and you do a wonderful job. I'm very proud to have you be the leaders in our community for our library. Thank you.
Anybody online?
If anyone on Zoom would like to do public comment, please raise your hand and we'll call on you.
Okay, so moving on, Friends of the Library update.
Friends most recently had a book sale at the beginning of the month. We don't yet have another one scheduled, although I'm sure that will be forthcoming. They very graciously donated $1,000 towards the summer reading program to help us for that, and we thank them for their ongoing support. And that's what I have from the Friends, or about the Friends.
It's just summer reading.
Summer reading program.
Next up is trustee comments.
I would like to thank Mark for wonderful service.
It's not going.
I like to second that. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Been
Mark.
a good leader.
Okay, so next up are the consent items. If I can get a motion to accept the consent items in full.
Could I ask before I or anyone make a motion, are there any changes we need to make to that paper that people are aware of ahead of time?
The only thing that I saw is maybe a spelling of a word, and I don't think that's. You did a great job.
Great job, Madam Secretary. Then I make a motion to approve the consent agenda items in their entirety.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Yeah, please second. So, first up is, the minutes from the regular board meeting from April 15. And the only thing that I saw is on page, I guess it's the last page? Under Uda, what Uda had said here, suggests you could do a line time, I think it meant line item on the budget. That was just a typo. It was on the third page.
At the top,
Vote, please.
That is all. And other than that, I think you duplicated this roll call vote and this roll call vote. I think those should be duplicated.
When should we have one?
I think
which roll call are you referring to?
at the very end.
Motion made.
Was the last roll call vote, and then we did the review, the serving our public, and then we did another roll call vote, which I don't think we did. I think we just reviewed it, and then we went to adjournment. So I think it was just a duplicate. See what I'm saying?
Page 7.
So on page 6. Yeah, on page 6 was a roll call vote.
Motion made by Kalupka.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Motion to leave closed session. Motion to leave.
Maybe I'm wrong. Never mind. I must have read it wrong. There was a lot of pages, so I think I read it wrong. So, yeah.
I got
So
lost.
she can't. Yeah, there's a lot of pages.
So, yeah.
Well, we went in and out.
Luckily, it's weird.
North,
to go
north,
that
Yeah.
way.
yeah, Chesky Roads.
Okay.
I'm trying to put the motion in front of the vote.
Yeah.
Best I
No, you did fine. I think it was my fault. Sorry about that. Okay, and so, the other one is the closed session. To be approved and open, those minutes. Everybody fine with all those? Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a roll call. Yeah, there's. Okay, okay.
But I mean, you said Uda. Well, Uda was there for this conversation because it was like the second time. So like Uda wasn't there the first time, but she did, I believe, vote on it the second time.
wants to.
Yeah. So she is on there, and that is a little,
This was for the clarification
but it's,
of the closed session.
Okay, so we're all good? We get a roll call vote?
Lomax.
Yes.
Murphy, yes. Robertson. Romero Lizotte.
Yes.
yes.
York.
Yes.
Kolupka.
Yes.
Okay, so motion passes. Unfinished business is the executive director annual evaluations, which we are going to go into closed session to go over those. And then we will go back to swearing in the new board. So can I get a motion to leave open session and to go into closed session? To discuss the executive director annual evaluation. Can I get a, can I get a motion?
I'll take the motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
So, roll call vote?
Murphy, yes. Romero Lizotte.
Yes.
Trustee
Yes.
York.
Yes.
Kolupka.
Yes.
Lomax.
Yes. Okay, yeah. So we've left open session to go into closed session at 6:47.
You all stay put.
Yeah.
It's like we got that's what she, yeah, she remembered that. Yes.
Okay, so we're back in the open session. It's 7:42. Okay, so next up is the administer of the oath of office to the recently elected trustees. Kelly and Ian and Kathy.
Let's get you to come up front here.
Smiling, looking for us.
Face the flag? No. Take the note.
Okay,
Yes, I'll hold that. No.
please raise your right hands
It's difficult.
and repeat after me. I
I,
Kelly Blackwood.
Kathy Murphy,
having been elected
Having been elected
to the office of trustee
to the office of trustee
in the Mississippi Valley Library District
in the Mississippi Valley Library District
in the counties of Madison and St. Clair,
in the counties of Madison and St. Clair,
aforesaid,
aforesaid,
do solemnly swear
Or affirm.
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of trustee
the duties of the office of trustee
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Okay, so we adjourn, sign, die. Is that what we do? Okay.
So I would make a motion to adjourn CNADA.
Okay, there you go. I don't know how you pronounce it. Gonna get second.
Okay, motion. Second. Can you just do the, voice vote, right?
Right, yeah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
The ayes have it. So we adjourned at 7:45. Thank you, Mark.
Yay.
Come on up, new trustees. Okay, we're gonna call the regular monthly meeting, the incoming board, at 7:46. So Kathy, get a roll call.
Wait, well, how do I do the new names?
If you just wanna put a squiggle across and then write the names in place of the ones where the other ones were.
Okay, Ashcraft, we go by last name.
Malacca Reader, BALACO hyphen READER.
Oh, we didn't get to say you.
No, I'm writing the name.
Oh, just writing
In
them down.
place of Robinson and.
All right, I got plenty of time.
Okay,
You put it in place.
oh. Okay, sorry. Kalupka.
Here.
Are we doing?
Here, yes.
Yeah, we're doing.
We're doing. Am I here or am I saying yes?
I don't know,
Here.
I don't have an H as an option. I just have a Y. Lomax,
Here.
Murphy here. Ashcraft,
Here.
Romero Lozano.
Here.
Balaco Reader.
Here.
And York.
Yes, here.
Okay, so Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so next up is election of board officers. So we will be electing the president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer.
Should we, are you open for nominations?
Yeah, so we'll start with president. Can I get a nomination for president?
I would not.
Ian.
Okay, so Ian's been nominated. Any other nominations?
Jeannie?
Any other nominations? Okay, I guess we do need to do a second. Okay, so Ian, then Kathy Kalupka is the second on Ian. Can I-
Wait, look, I don't write
So for president, Ian was nominated by Anna and seconded by Kathy Kalupka.
Can I read a statement about my nomination? Okay. So as a trustee committed to principles of intellectual freedom, inclusivity, and community trust, I find it imperative to address recent actions that have compromised the integrity of our library and its staff. The first act Lomax did as president was remove Illinois Library Association bookmarks that promoted diversity because the library should remain neutral. The current board president's actions have created an atmosphere of fear and distrust among our dedicated library staff. This has led to the formation of a union, not out of desire, but out of necessity to protect their rights and ensure fair treatment. Such an environment undermines the collaborative spirit essential for the library's success. Furthermore, the president's micromanagement of our library director has obstructed her ability to lead effectively. This overreach disrupts the effective functioning of the library and diminishes the effectiveness of its leadership. Additionally, Lomax has used a book as a political prop and co-authored a petition in violation of library policy, accompanied by misrepresentation of its content to the public. It is a clear attempt to censor materials that reflect diverse perspectives. This action contradicts our commitment to providing a comprehensive and inclusive collection for all patrons, as her own statement that she wants a neutral library. In light of these concerns, I call for the election of the new board president who will lead with integrity, trust in our library director, and a commitment to maintain a diverse and inclusive collection. Our library should be a space where all voices are heard and all materials are available for exploring and learning. Let us move forward with leadership that reflects our community's values and upholds the mission of our library.
Okay, Jenny has nominated me as president. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. So, we will, do a roll call vote for, Ian's nomination for president.
I have a question. Do I write that on here?
Yes.
I don't need another. Because then I'd be vice president? Okay. Let me catch up, I'm sorry. And you made the motion. And you second. Okay. Kalupka. Yes. Lomax.
No.
Murphy. No. Ashcraft.
Yes.
Romero Lozana.
Yes.
Balaco Reader. York. We're voting for Ian. No. Okay. And now the president for Lomax. Okay. This is
So York made the motion.
Okay. Okay. Kalupka. Lomax.
Yes.
Murphy. Yes. Ashcraft.
No.
Romero Lozana.
No.
Balaco Reader.
Yes.
York.
Yes.
So, Lomax as president. Next we have, vice president. And a nomination for vice president. I would like to nominate, Kelly Balaco.
I'll second it. Okay. Lomax.
Any other nominations?
Lomax. Murphy. Yes. Ashcraft.
No.
Romero Lozana.
No.
Balaco Reader. York.
Yes.
Kalupka.
No. So next up is secretary. I would like to nominate Jenny York as secretary.
Are we waiting on a second?
Yes.
Can I get a second?
Yes. Ashcraft.
Well, I mean,
Is
I'd also
there-
like to have another
Yeah, is there
Oh.
any other nominations?
Kathy Bluegrass.
Okay. You nominated her.
Can we get a second?
Yes.
Okay. For Dorcas Secretary, Murphy, yes. Ashcraft,
Wait, for York?
yes.
For York.
Romero Lozano,
For secretary.
Malacco Reader, York,
Yes.
Kalepka,
No.
Lomax.
Yes.
Okay, for Kalepka as secretary.
That's what it said.
Ashcraft,
Yes.
Romero Lozano,
Yes.
Malacco Reader, York,
No.
Kalepka,
Yes.
Lomax,
No.
Murphy, no.
So York is secretary. So next up is treasurer.
I can split it in half. Secretary, oh, treasurer.
Yes, this next one is treasurer. Like to nominate Kathy Murphy for treasurer. Can we get a second?
I'll second.
Did you accept?
No, I don't.
Okay. We get a nomination for treasurer.
I will nominate you.
Okay, Kalepka,
I second.
Romero Lozano,
Yes.
Malacco Reader,
Yes.
York, Kalepka,
Yes.
Lomax,
No.
Murphy, Ashcraft,
Yes.
Got four votes. So Ian is the treasurer. Okay. So, let's see. Next up is public input. Anybody online? For public input? Oh, come on in.
I'd really like, Don Coons, I'd really like for you folks to spend some money and get some microphones so we can hear what you say. I'd like for you to have some sort of little desk here that everyone that comes up and speaks has a microphone.
Okay.
And you can lay the paperwork. Then you folks are sitting, and I don't know if you're aware of it or not, this library is sitting with $1,300,000 cash of the taxpayers' money. It's about time we start spending something. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you.
what was his name?
That's John.
Great to see you again. Jan Hatcher. Good.
So next up is Friends of the Library updates. Nothing to add, okay. Trustee comments? Nothing to add, okay. Consent items. So can I get a motion to accept the consent items in their entirety?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent items.
And can I get a second? I will second. Okay, first one is approval of minutes. I was gonna say, we already did that. Communications, stuff out here, which I think there was, what, 2 communications?
2 that were sent out previously and then 1 that was sent out earlier today.
Okay, so we have 3 communications, administrative reports. Carla, anything to update?
Just a reminder that the summer reading programs are just around the corner, so we have something for all ages. Please sign up yourselves, sign up your kids, your grandkids. We've got prizes, we've got activities, we've got all kinds of stuff coming up. Starting on May 31st with a life-size board games day. We're gonna have several life-size board games like Battleship and things like that available for all ages to play. So please come to that, it's a little fun. That one will only be here.
Oh, sorry, Kyla, it's also
Oh, I do apologize. What-
June 2nd in Fairmont.
Thank you.
That sounds like fun. Yeah, it looks like you have quite a bit planned for the summer, so looks nice. I wanted to ask you on your report about the leak. Did we find out anything about the leak that we were having from, find out anything from Lakeside Roofing?
Oh, for the roof?
Yeah.
No, we haven't heard from them.
And I saw here that there was a generous donor, that we received a $20,000 donation to replace the children's playroom flooring, which is fabulous. And hopefully that's, getting done real quickly.
We have the flooring picked out, we have, we're making arrangements for having it installed.
Great.
That donation, I should mention, was also then for the money that we do not spend on the toy room floor. It's also to help start sprucing up the side entrance here and address some of the wear and tear that it's had over the years.
That's great.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we were switching over, when you mentioned those dates, you said May 31st was
Here for the life-size games. and then
life-size game, okay,
June 2nd at Fairmont.
okay, all right, thank you.
So yeah, it looks like you have a lot of things planned. Okay. Matt, do you have any updates?
Nothing, as you guys see though, with the tax help, it was a huge success that year with tax help again. So always super appreciative of the ERP.
Yeah, the report said 397 clients were helped, so that's fabulous.
Hey, Matt, could you clarify what you mean by pushback communities?
Programming, under programming.
Well, that's how much they received in refunds.
Okay, wonderful. I wasn't sure what it meant, I was just like, I think he means this, but he sure. Oh, so, yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine.
ARP wording too, by the way.
Let's see. So finances, first is expenses by vendor, profit and loss. Saw that there's a bus trip deposit, what is that for?
That's part of the P&G grant. Every year as part of that program, we take a bus trip to a local STEM-based place. So this year, We have plans in early June to take some young adults to the Made and Maker Space in St. Louis.
And
Or is that a different one?
what is the maker?
It's a full-scale maker lab, so it has all kinds of equipment related to making like
STEM lab?
They have 3D printers, they have a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, so we have some stuff here that we consider makerspace things, like our 3D printer, the laser cutter, things like that. But they have a whole space dedicated to nothing but being able to make things using different construction equipment and, not construction equipment, what's the word I'm looking for? Like woodworking equipment and stuff like that. So, they've come up with some ideas for our group, opportunities that we can't provide here that they have the resources to do, and so we'll be going over there to give our kids a chance to get their hands on some stuff that they don't have here.
So who's the group of kids that how are they chosen, or did they sign up for it? Or?
First dibs are the kids that have attended prior P&G programs. Once we have them in place, if there are any available seats, that can be opened up to the wider community.
So how many people do you usually take?
We usually take about a busload.
Like a school bus load?
Yes, but the groups don't usually come, so it's usually about,
20 to 30.
I was gonna say 30 kids and 3 chaperones.
Usually what one year.
And is there a certain age group?
5th through 12th grades.
Okay.
So really good space.
I kind of want to do.
You should, it's really neat. I went there a number of times and I was working with the health department, they provided face shields for nurses that I was working with. Kyla, I don't know, they may reach out, they're right in that area where the tornado hit.
They have, and so we may have to postpone it by a week or so, but as of right now, it's still scheduled for early June.
Good. Yeah, I heard through the grapevine that they're close. And that, it looks like that is in the vendor detail, it says the Makerspace bus trip.
Well, there are 2 of them. One was
There's
paid
2.
by credit card, so it shows up under the American Express, and then the other one was the remainder of that balance paid directly to the, both the
To
bus
Van
line
Dyke bus
and
line.
to, Made Makerspace.
So these were all covered on that P&G grant.
Yes.
What is the Swank movie licensing?
So in order for us to legally be able to show movies, we have to have a copyright license, and that's for the license for us to be able to show movies during events.
Okay. How often do you show movies?
On demand here, sometimes we have movie days where we put a series of movies up throughout the day, and anytime, even if we don't have anything going on, if someone wants to watch movies on this TV in here,
They can turn on.
they can turn them on and we can show them because they have a public performance license.
And then the other one was ProQuest. That is Heritage Quest Online.
That's a genealogy database.
Okay. So then we have profit and loss. Did good interest income this month. It's very nice. $5,000. Balance sheet. We have next is the gift fund.
So So the Puzzle Race fundraiser made about a little over $700.
$779, I believe, so
$749 if I have these two, but
$749.
not a big deal.
That's good.
And we've had 16 donations for the elevator repair.
Previously, yes.
Oh, that was back in February.
The yearbook for the race was also going well.
It's beside this one.
Yeah, that's when I got my head counted over there.
Yeah. It's fun.
And next is the budget versus the actuals. So on the first page, the 2024 P&G grant, the 2025, are we waiting on money to come in, or?
Well, the 2024 P&G grant is finished. That was the fourth quarter's reimbursement, which was not received during the fourth quarter.
Okay.
The 2025 P&G, we do have outstanding funds. It is on a reimbursement basis. So
I have my lines right.
once we finish the bus trip, then I can submit an interim reimbursement request, and we can try and get it before the end of the quarter. But at the rate we've been getting payments, it'll probably hit within the next budget cycle.
Okay. And then other grants, we just had anticipated 5,000 and.
You just never know what's there. So this year, the grants that we had opportunities to go after and then we're actually awarded, we're on the smaller side. However, you know, keep an eye out and keep trying to apply for grants when they turn up.
We have profit and loss comparison. Questions on that? Any questions on any of those? And then committee reports, which we didn't have any committees that met. So can we go ahead and get a roll call vote to accept the consent items? We already made motions. Yeah.
Oh, we just.
Okay.
You just need that.
Just go ahead and do the roll call.
Okay. This is for the consent items, right? Yeah, it's a little. It's. I think I motioned and.
Yeah, so you motioned and Kathy Kolupka second on the consent items.
Okay, so Kolupka,
Yes.
Lomax,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Ashcraft,
Yes.
Romero Lozano, Balaco Reader,
Yes.
and York, yes. Okay.
Okay. Motion passes. So up next is the bylaw revision, addition of the Buildings and Grounds Committee. So we have a draft of the bylaws revision, and the bold is, and underlined is the new committee that's been added. So any questions, comments? Can we get a motion to accept the new bylaw revision on the building, to the addition of the Buildings and Grounds Committee?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Can we get a second?
I'll say.
Okay. And we can get a roll call vote.
Okay, and that was for the building requirements. Okay, Kaluka?
Yes.
Lomax?
Yes.
Murphy?
Yes.
Ashcraft?
I'm so sorry. Are we, I should have asked this before when we were doing discussion. Are we accepting the bylaws, or are we accepting that there's going to be a rules committee?
The bylaw.
The bylaws.
Yeah, the Building and Grounds Committee was adopted as a charge last month, and then this is the addition of wording about the committee into the bylaws.
Okay. Thanks.
Did you say yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I said yes.
Okay. Romero Lozano?
I said no on the last time, I broke this committee.
Okay, so no? Okay. And Blanco Reader?
Yes.
And George, yes, okay.
Okay, motion passes. Next up is elevator repairs.
So the elevator company, NEI, has the permit from the state that they need in order to begin repairs. As far as I know, they are still on track in terms of when the materials are being shipped to them. And once they arrive in their possession, they will be reaching out to me to schedule the installation, tentatively aiming for next month.
Where they would have the materials or
To begin the installation.
installation.
Just keep us updated if you hear any news that they've received them. Next up is discussion and possible action on revision to whistleblower policy and anti-harassment and non-discrimination policy. So everybody got in their packet this information. So on the whistleblower policy, I printed out the previous whistleblower policy. Quite sure why we're changing this. Well, I am, because I don't know how I missed this. Back in March of 2024, we got a whistleblower let's see, a whistleblower report was submitted towards myself. And the response to the whistleblower report, it was alleging that I had violations to the Madison County Ethics Ordinance because I donated money to a political party. And I also went to a school board meeting and spoke as a private citizen in support of a certain referendum. All of these things were done on a personal capacity, not as a capacity as a library board trustee. So when Kyla responded, it is my finding that Jeannie Lomax has not participated in improper governmental action. I did not do this as trustee. This is once again, I mean, I've had people go to the ACLU, I've had them go to the Attorney General to try and file reports against me with no findings, and now they're doing a whistleblower report, and we're spending money with the lawyer trying to get this whistleblower policy changed, having no bearing whatsoever that I did anything wrong. So she said,
Who is this that said it?
Kyla responded saying that, let's see. Individuals, whether they are employees or officers of governmental bodies or not, have a constitutionally protected right to engage in political activity as a private citizen. It is determined in regards to the allegations Lomax participated in political activities as a private citizen using private resources. So this is the whole crux of why this whistleblower policy is attempting to be changed. So I am concerned with the new wording on here. The previous wording said the auditing official or auditor as applied to this policy is the MVLD trustee appointed by the library board president at the beginning of each fiscal year. In the event that the appointed individual is the subject of the complaint or not available, the library's executive director will fulfill the role. I do not think that that is an unreasonable policy.
Our new attorneys, though, do not like that setup because it's effectively putting me in a position of having to make a potential decision on one of my bosses. And so they were the ones who recommended this wording that, and it's in alignment with a lot of other organizations too, that as the head administrator, that comes to me, and if there's an issue that's being brought forth about myself or a trustee, then that should go to an outside law firm, not them, because that could put them in a potential conflict of interest situation.
Yeah, but the law firm that they've chosen is also a law firm that is hired by the board. So I mean.
They didn't choose that. I put that in because right now we have a limited engagement with Quinn Mundorf specifically for labor law.
Yeah.
And since it's limited to labor law, then that gives us the ability to say, well, since they're not our general counsel, we can call them in as special counsel on this.
Well, I think that it can also go to, it has the ability to go to other board members. So if there were a complaint, a legitimate complaint against the auditor, it could then be passed down to another board member.
That doesn't
Rather
mean
than
the issue that Kyla's just talking about, whether it goes to her or one of us, the same issue stands. Right?
Well, for it to go to a board attorney, I don't think that that is probably, because then that's a conflict of interest. That the board has hired the attorney and now the attorney is going to then, do an investigation over the board, board member that they have hired.
So to be clear, you want to go against attorney recommendation? Because this isn't my recommendation, this is attorney recommendation.
I mean, and I would think that you being the executive director, being the auditor, I'm not so sure that that's the best of ideas, because I would think, in thinking about anybody that would be a whistleblower, so someone that has had, most times if they're going to have a problem with maybe another employee that's they're working side by side with, that they see are doing something wrong, they would be going to the executive director, unless they felt like they couldn't go to the executive director. Or if it was, since you are the supervisor of the entire library, oftentimes, that may be somebody that the whistle, would be blown on. Not saying that it would, but I'm just saying, in looking at what could be happening. So then they would go to a board member. And it can be various board members. It doesn't have to just be one. So
But then that would still require switching it up so that I would be the primary whistleblower official with someone else as a backup. The whole point is that no one should be put in a position where they have to potentially find against their employer. So if the whistleblower official is a board member, but it involves them, then it comes to me right now. And that puts me in a position of having to make a determination against one of my bosses.
well, shouldn't it go to maybe another board member though? So if the whistle was being blown on the auditor, then it should go to a second line board member.
That's, I don't wanna sit here and say that's not a potential option. Again, that's against our attorney's advice.
Did we have an attorney look over this first whistleblower policy?
Yes. Yes, the prior one.
Yeah, so, I mean,
But we have new attorneys and they have to be able to defend our policies and law in the court of law. And so this is what the new attorneys are saying that we should do.
so
And
wasn't
this
this,
is more in keeping with what many other organizations do, where it starts at the staff level and then progresses upwards or outwards from there.
But it sounds like the board's totally cut out of the whistleblower policy in this. Is that, am I reading that right?
I'm confused as to what the issue is.
Cut out in terms of having people report to the board, yes, because board members tend to change more frequently than staff members do, which is why so many other organizations set it up this way, like the city is set up this way. But again, this is also a recommendation from our attorneys based on what they see in practice as being the best practice as well.
Did they have a chance to look at the original one? You did. When Mundor person did look at the.
Not Gwen Lundor, because they're not our general counsel. Our general counsel is Ansel Blake. So Ansel Blake looks it over.
Oh, so this is Ansel Blake's recommendation.
Yes.
so it's different than what Phil Lenzini put forward. That was our library expert, so.
Every attorney has different interpretations. If a question comes up, I'm going to take it to whichever attorney.
I kind of feel the same way as Kathy, that, if there is not that I anticipate this happening, I mean, because I would think that if there's a problem with staff members, they would be going to you anyway, that's a chain of command. But if, so, the
Well, it
reason
is for a
that,
grievance procedure, but this isn't a grievance procedure, this is something else. So this kind of mirrors that, but also goes,
so why would they not be able to go to a board member?
quite frankly, they're not trustees.
That's a shame.
It is a shame.
It is a shame. Well, I think that the board is being, I feel like the board is being left out of this, and that it has been putting it back to the library executive director, which you are the supervisor of the whole library, and that might not be the appropriate thing for the whistleblower. And then now we're gonna go to an attorney that is a paid attorney. I'm not really in favor of it.
So you want to go against attorney advice?
Well, I'm kind of going back to the original attorney, believe it
But
or
that's
not.
not our current attorney.
Right, but this is.
The reason why we have this
Change
attorney is because you didn't like a decision that's last.
Yeah, I know, so it's kind of odd that I would.
I didn't realize you were an expert in law.
Are you?
No, that's why I want to go with what the lawyers recommend, because they're the experts in law.
You
They're
know,
not upset that there's a grievance that you have.
I've talked to, Caleb Mundorf about this, and he suggested that, a retired judge, rather than an attorney that is, a board attorney.
I have not heard any other organization going to a retired judge.
I think I told you about this when.
You
this first
did,
came
but
up.
when I'm researching it and when I'm talking to our current attorneys,
Who
No one else
who
has
does,
said-
who does the city have? Although they don't have a whistleblower policy,
they do,
they do have it now.
and it is the city manager who is the whistleblower.
And then who's the second line from the city manager?
They have their HR manager.
So, yeah, we don't have an HR person, so.
Why doesn't it go to the personnel committee?
Not everything is related to personnel. Whistleblowing covers finances, it covers election activities, it covers all kinds of things, not just personnel.
Could it go to the finance committee? Do we have a committee that it could go to?
I mean, personnel, if we're dealing with employees, I think that that's not a bad idea.
I can run it past our attorneys, but I can tell you this is what they recommended.
If the language was changed in here, so it didn't go to Gwen Mundorf, but it said something to the effect of either another attorney or another expert that Gwen Mundorf preferred, or ancillary.
Well, Ansel Glenn isn't gonna recommend.
But Ansel Blake helped craft
That's
this,
your practice.
so they're trying to, if I'm not mistaken, is that correct, Kyla?
Yeah. Well, when it says the auditor or their designee, according to this, you're the auditor. And you have an alternate auditor, which is the Gwen Mundorf. Either you or the lawyer can appoint members of the management team, board, or outside counsel to assist with the investigation.
Right, depending on the nature of it.
So there the board members are.
So it could be a personnel committee thing, it could be a finance committee thing, but they still need to have a designated whistleblower official and an alternate.
Yeah, that's the third step, is the auditor, the second, and then it would go to whomever we decide.
So you could go to the board. Or if you can't, the lawyer could go to the board, but we're paying him the whole time. Okay. And the original policy,
The original policy was appointed by the library board president at the beginning of the fiscal year, and if not available, the library executive director would fulfill the role. And the auditor or designee has the authority to appoint other members of the management team, board members, and/or outside counsel consultants to assist.
so it cuts out the board president and brings in the lawyer.
The board president has designated herself to be the whistleblowing official.
The
It
board
changes
president can designate it, this is the beginning of the next fiscal year, the board president can designate a different board member. I would designate Kelly to be the whistleblower auditor, if that is to the liking of the rest of the board. And then
And to do so would still be against the advice of our current attorneys.
I still think that, I would rather have the board involved rather than it going straight to the executive director and then to an attorney. Because then she would have the ability to say, well, I think that an attorney needs to handle this, or I want to bring in another board member, or I want to go to another committee.
So keep it in. Impartiality. Control the narrative. Legal impartiality.
I'd be remiss not to point out yet again, the reason why we have the lawyers that we do is because you didn't like Phil's answer to some other thing, and now you like what he said. So did we even have to get a new lawyer if you're gonna?
So because I agree with one of his decisions, so if he has 10 different things and I agree with one and don't like 9 of them, I should just
I
accept
don't know
him?
how many you have gone through, because all we've heard about for 2 years is that you didn't like one decision that you did. And now you like it, but we've already moved to a different lawyer, and you don't like their decisions.
No, all I'm saying is the original wording in this.
I know what you said.
Okay, well, and you know what I said then. You tend to know a lot about what I think or what I say.
Well, we all can hear what you say.
Okay. Well, you tend to know a lot of what you
Can we not do
think that
personal
I
attacks
say.
at the meeting, Mr. President?
Okay, so moving on to discussion anymore on this. It's up to you guys. Well, I am fine with keeping the whistleblower policy as it is. I will, beginning of the fiscal year, can we even vote right now to change the whistleblower auditor?
No, that would be outside the scope of this
Okay.
agenda item.
Okay. So I am for keeping the whistleblower policy as is and not changing this.
We would vote, but there's no motion.
So can I get a motion to keep the whistleblower policy as is? So the original one is that it would be, the president would appoint a board member and that the executive director would be the second line with the option of designating another board member, management team, and or outside counsel. So there is that, those are all in line of next steps. So we've got, 4, 5 options. So can I get a motion to vote on retaining the original draft whistleblower
Can I
policy?
make a suggestion?
Yes.
That we give the new board members time to read over the original policy and this new policy and give all of us some time to think it through and prepare it for next month.
I'd like to make a motion so that Kelly and I can read through the previous statements and new statements, so that we can be better educated for the next meeting.
To
To table.
For the next meeting.
I would like to table this so they would be.
And we don't need a motion for that, do
The
we?
motion is to table it until next.
We would need a motion to table it. Kelly, what are your thoughts?
I feel like the tabling is a reasonable response.
Okay, so can we go ahead and get a motion to table the whistleblower?
I think we got it. Yes.
Who seconded it?
I second.
Yes.
Okay. Kaluka,
Yes.
Lomax.
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Ashcraft,
Yes.
Romero Alzano,
Yes.
Balaco Reader,
Yes.
and me, yes. Okay.
The
does delete the non-discrimination and anti-harassment policy.
Same thing, I'm just saying, I mean, no, I'm saying that then we just focus on, yeah.
Yeah, it's all grouped in the same
So,
group.
yeah.
Okay.
It's all in the same.
Yeah, I think that they're reading over the whistleblower, it needs to all be read over.
Well, that just wasn't what the motion is, so I just want to be clear.
Shall I change the motion, shall I adjust the motion?
Make a new motion or amend it.
Yeah.
Well, it's, the item on the agenda was the whistleblower policy and anti-harassment. Okay, great.
But it's not about what's on the agenda, it's about what's said as part of the motion.
Okay, so can I get a motion to table the whistleblower policy and anti-harassment, non-discrimination policy?
Just for clarification, is this an amending or a new motion?
I'm okay with an amending.
Okay.
I just want it to be clear.
So can we motion to amend the previous motion to include anti-harassment and non-discrimination?
Is that the motion?
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah,
Maybe the motion.
like you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we
Did you get those two?
Yeah, do we need to vote again?
We'll amend it.
Okay. Kalipa,
Yes.
Lomax.
Yes.
Murphy. Yes. Ashcraft.
Yes.
Romero Lozano.
Yes.
Solaco Reader.
Yes.
And you, yes, okay. All right.
So next up is update on repairs to Fairmont City Library Field.
So the letter went out from our attorney last week, haven't heard anything yet. That's all we got.
Discussion and possible action on request from Collinsville Historical Museum, the lease agreement renewal.
So in your packet is a request from the Historical Museum Board. The current agreement expires next month. And at that time, if it were to auto renew, it would be a cost to the museum of $100 a month. They are requesting that they continue to be allowed to do a token rental fee of $1 per year as it is currently in place.
I don't think they made $400, I mean, they don't charge, right?
I don't know what their finances look like, so I can't speak to that. I think we have room to maybe do a little bit of negotiation in terms of asking them to help out with certain projects. Certainly in the past, they have been willing to help pay for some things that impact them regarding the landscaping. So I think there's little room for us to negotiate something along those lines, but I think in good faith, the rental fee, my recommendation would be to renew the rental fee as is and then negotiate having them help out with other projects that impact their facilities.
So has there been any kind of cost impact very often to the library?
So we've had some. The most recent one was the creation of a swale by their lower entrance because the rain was just backing up and causing issues inside their building. So we installed a swale. It was about more than $1,200 to do that. There was issues with, again, rainwater causing flooding inside their building. Before that, specifically at a different entrance though, and so that resulted in the re-landscaping between our two buildings, and that was, I don't remember what I told you when you asked that before, Jeannie, I wanna say about $5,000 or $6,000 to do. And again, they have offered to help pay for some of those things.
Yeah, maybe if we can have some sort of agreement with cost sharing if something, things like that come up, so that it doesn't impact the library, if it's, Have you talked to them about that at all?
No, because I wanted to find out what direction the board wanted to go before I went to them.
I agree with Jean, if we can get something about cost sharing in whatever contract we have with them, that would be great. I'd also like to see more partnering, with,
The museum.
yes, as far as, oh my gosh, my
Their
brain is
programming.
failing. Programming,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
That's something we've been starting to work on.
Yeah, because I don't think they're really, making a lot of money. So I don't have a problem with, keeping the rent what it was, which is token. But, if there's gonna be issues that possibly could cost the library, there needs to be some agreement on cost sharing. You guys all agree with that?
Absolutely, yeah, the cost sharing would be very important.
Okay, so what do you need to do? Work out that with them and then bring this back to us, or?
Trying to think if I need a formal vote on that. I'm gonna say at this point, since we're probably more in the negotiating stage, that I'll just take that feedback back to them and then I can.
And I just want to, I don't know if you want to tell them that, I don't know if the majority are for keeping the rental agreement the same, but having, just have some additional commitment.
Sounds like we're on the same page about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll take that back to them and let them know.
That we're not looking at increasing the rent.
Just caution.
Okay.
Okay, so new business, discussion possible action on draft 2026 salary and wage scales.
So in your packet are the wage scales for the different pay grades that we have. It shows you both the current midpoint, and max, and then the proposed new for each of those, and the percent increase would be a 3% across the board. That's a starting point, but of course, I need feedback from the board, and you would ultimately need to approve this because these are the parameters within which I work out the budget.
I think this is fair.
Yeah, I think it's representative. So do you need a motion?
Anybody else on discussion?
You're thinking it's fair for that 3%, is that right?
I would agree, I don't think we have a previous to.
I don't know how I feel because the unionization is costing more money in lawyer fees. There's a lot of unknowns. We don't know how much money we're going to be getting in, certain departments and I just, it may not look like a considerable amount of money, but if you don't have it coming in, it's gonna have to come out from someplace else.
Can you clarify what you mean not coming into certain departments?
We don't know how much money we're gonna be getting in all of the taxes, we don't know, some of the things have already been halted, So, it's just a lot of unknowns right now.
But you also have to think that everyone deserves an increase of salary. If not, you're gonna be faced with a lot of turnover.
Oh, I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but, the
You run a big,
lawyers-
huge risk of, having a huge turnover. And it takes a lot of money to train people.
yeah, I know.
It helps to think of it in terms of the pots of money.
Mm-hmm.
The legal fees will be coming out of the liability fund as an authorized expense, which is one of our healthier pots of money at the moment. And the majority of the salaries and wages would be coming out of the general fund. So if you look at it like that, just since it came up as an example, the anticipated higher legal fees won't necessarily have an impact on, we really have to focus more on what's gonna be coming out of the general fund versus, because we have these different pots of money, so you know, some of our IMRF comes out of the IMRF fund, some of it comes out of general. The legal fees will be coming out of liability. Insurance premiums for liability insurance will be coming out of the liability fund. So it also depends not only on basically your profit and loss for the year, but how much is sitting in each of those pots. And how much wiggle room we have with the cushions that we have. So I certainly understand very much where that perspective is coming from. At the same time, we're also looking at things like a reduction in premiums for health insurance. So some of that will start to get offset as well as we continue fine-tuning the budget. And if push comes to shove and we need to make some hard decisions, we'll make some hard decisions.
Yeah, because the budget's just being formed.
And this is the biggest component of it. So that's why it's important that I have the sense of control with this.
Any other discussion?
So they get a raise every year?
Not automatically. There were several years where they didn't. The past several years have been mandatory increases of it. You know, as the minimum wage has been going up $1 per year, but this is the first year where that's not been in place. So this would be us saying we're trying to keep up with cost of living with the market.
Last year, I do recall, since the extra dollar hit to put it at $15 an hour, it was an 8% increase.
Yes, that's right.
Was it just the level 1 or was it the level 1 and 2?
I don't recall that off the top of my head, but I know that the
Because it was fairly
lower
high.
down on that
It was,
list,
yeah, it was fairly high.
yes, it skewed the percentage to be a higher percentage.
Yeah,
increase.
and that was because of our state government. And, you know, that was nothing that was in our control.
Right.
Which that was quite a bump. I mean, most people don't get an 8% raise. So I would think cost of living increases right at around 3%. It was last year, I don't know. I think it's real close to now.
It's close to that.
So, okay. Any other discussion? So can I get a motion to accept the 3% increase on the salary and wage scale? Motion. Kelly motion, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Second. Do a roll call vote.
Okay. Kalinka,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Ashcraft,
Yes.
Romero Lozano,
Yes.
Balak over here.
Yes.
So carried.
So next is discussion and possible action on request for tax abatement. We've done a.
Non-resident
Oh,
fee.
Non-resident fee.
Oh, I skipped. So discussion and possible action on draft fiscal year 2026 non-resident fee.
This does come up once a year, and as it relates to the budget, but also to operations. There are parts of Illinois that are not served by a library district, and there are some that are right next to our borders. In order for people to use our services, they would have to get a non-resident card. And there are a couple of different ways that fee can be calculated. One that we historically use is the general mathematical formula, which is provided through state statute, and that's what you see in front of you. The other option would be the tax bill method, where each person has to bring in a tax bill, and then we run the calculations and figure it out off of that, and that's just more complicated than we need. The first thing to remind you of is that we are not required to have non-resident cards, but we like to offer them because that's what allows us to issue cards to students in the school district as part of our collaboration with the school district and their registration process. With this year's calculation, we're actually looking at having the exact same dollar amount as last year. The minimum amount listed there actually went down by about 50 or 60 cents. But because we round up, because who wants to remember 8118, the $82 would be the same as it currently is. So I would recommend to you that we do continue this program, the $82 per household, with some of the additions that are also on here. So the Cards for Kids Act has been expanded so that we do have the option of saying that we will not charge kids cards under the age of 18. Which again is what we've had in place in order to be able to issue cards through our collaboration with the school district. So I do recommend that continue. And then it would automatically also include free cards for disabled non-resident veterans who are at a certain percentage of disability or higher. So they have to provide some documentation, which they should easily have available to them. And that would automatically be rolled into the non-resident option as well.
So can I get a motion to accept the draft 2026 non-resident fee?
I make the motion to do this.
I'll second it. Let's adjourn for the storm.
Can I get a second?
Murphy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Yeah, motion.
so we can do a roll call vote.
And exactly what was the motion?
The motion was to accept the general mathematical formula for
The non-resident fee schedule.
So it's keeping it the same?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Kaluka,
Yes.
Lomax,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Ashcraft,
Yes.
Romero Lozano,
Yes.
Balaco Reader.
Yes.
Okay.
Kyle, I'm going to email you about this. How many people do we typically serve with this?
In terms of who pays, it does vary from year to year. So far this year, we haven't had anyone pay for a card. In terms of the student participants, generally speaking, we're looking at a couple thousand kids cards a year. I would say probably somewhere in the ballpark of about 200 as an estimate.
Okay.
Are serving this.
You had said about 2,000. Is that like what we're missing out on? Like kids that are outside of our library district but are in the area that could be receiving?
No. So when we work with the school district, as part of the school registration process, it says, would you like to set your kid up for a public library card?
Okay, perfect.
About 90 to 96% so far each year have opted into that. So in terms of the creation of new cards each year, we're looking at a couple thousand. As new people are coming into the district or forgetting their old cards and things like that. So when I was saying a couple thousand, I was referring to the creation of new cards under that program. not how many potential unserved kids there are.
Okay, that makes more sense.
It's cleaners upstairs, everyone, if you hear something, it's the cleaners.
It wasn't thunder, we're good.
So next
It was
up,
thunderous.
next up is appointment of trustees to committees. So the committees that we have are the new buildings, Buildings and Grounds Committee. And we have the Finance Committee, Personnel Committee, and the Fundraising Committee. So, appointments. Let's start with the Buildings and Grounds Committee. Who is interested in being on the Buildings and Grounds Committee? Ian, hello?
Sure.
Anybody else interested in being on the Buildings and Grounds? Okay.
So it was 3 people?
Yeah, so Ann, Kathy Kulupka, and Kelly. And next we have the Finance Committee.
Which does traditionally include the treasurer.
Of course,
Of course.
So
pretend
Ian,
I'm sticking with tradition on it.
you're interested in that one, Ian? Okay, Finance Committee. Kelly? Sure. Kelly? Kathy, Jenny, Anna,
Which one, finance?
Finance,
I will.
Jenny?
You will?
Yeah.
And Kathy Kulupka?
Who else? Which one, what is-
And Kathy, are you?
Ashcraft.
Okay.
Oh, that's.
Okay, so we have Ian, Kelly, and Jenny. Next is Personnel.
I would like to do
Okay.
that. Who's the
I
third?
like to do it. It's for personnel.
Okay, Anna.
Sure, Jenny, Kathy, and Anna.
Jenny, Kathy Kulupka?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wait, you're on
That's
first,
personnel.
you're on personnel too?
Yes, Kelly. Okay, so we have Jenny, Anna, Kathy Kulupka, and Kelly.
I'll just join for personnel.
And we're gonna have big committees.
Do it.
Biggest committees we have. Anybody else? Which would be Are you interested? No? Okay. So Jenny, Anna, Kathy Kulupka, Kelly, and me. Okay. And now we have fundraising. Okay. Fundraising, any other takers?
I'll go all 4 committees that Kelly's doing, why not?
Okay. Anna, Kathy, Jenny,
I'll help where I can, but I'm not mobile
or,
enough
the other, let me
to
know
be
when
my
you need.
childcare.
Anybody can attend.
Oh, yeah.
Let me know when you need high school
Okay.
students, I'll send them your way.
Okay,
Sounds
so
great.
those are all taken care of.
So we should consider them all appointed.
Those are all appointed,
No.
yes.
No.
Okay, so next up, discussion possible action on request of tax abatement. They've done Horseshoe Service Center. So it's another tax abatement in the enterprise zone. Do we know who has abated their taxes so far?
I know the city said they have, I believe the school district has as well. Who else did they say? I don't recall if anyone else did.
I am not for abating taxes. I think that, you know, when a business comes in, if they're able to get the city the big fish in the pond, we're very small beans and we have a lot of expenses that we're looking at, you know, possibly building wise with our buildings getting older. So I think, Uda kind of, elaborated on that at the last time.
I didn't have time to do a pie chart, otherwise I would have.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not in favor of it. Any other?
Remember how
Viewpoints,
many jobs
discussions?
they're creating. I saw it.
I don't see anything about jobs.
I thought I saw it in there, I'm not looking
Yeah,
at it.
I think I read it in the Malibu.
It was such a big,
Yes.
I thought I saw it.
48,000.
Yeah, it's a warehouse.
While we're all looking for how many jobs are proposed, I did want to say, my main concern is similar to Jeannie's in that we're seeing funding being cut in different places and I know that this seems to be, it's in between $4,000 and $5,000 that we wouldn't be getting a year, but some of this stuff could really add up with IRS funding and all of that, so.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, so can we go ahead and get a motion, to, okay, how do we word this? To not accept the tax abatement? Is that how
Well,
we word it?
I think.
Do we
would
decline
word
it?
Request for tax abatement.
To, okay,
Deny request.
And we
to deny request
Well,
of the tax abatement?
I think we say request for tax abatement, and then we can vote no.
Yes.
Okay.
Request
Yeah,
for
we could do
tax.
that. Yeah, that sounds like it. So can I get a motion, on the request for tax abatement?
I will motion for the request for tax abatement.
I'll second.
For McDonough Horseshoe Service Center? Yeah.
Correct,
Yeah,
yes.
we need to put that in there.
And I said I would second.
Okay,
Okay,
so,
oh, we've
I
got
know
it.
you're starting. So I'm saying, when I say no, I'm saying yes, I'm saying no.
I need to
So,
change it up.
do you want to abate the
Do you want
taxes?
abatement?
So,
No.
Okay.
right.
Request for
Albert, I'm
tax
changing the
abatement.
subs so you're
No.
not first all the time.
The wording is key, yeah.
Yes. Request for tax abatement, no.
Okay.
You said no?
Me? Yeah, I said no. I didn't hear you call my
No.
name.
So yes, I said no.
Murphy?
No.
Ashcraft?
No.
Romero Lozano?
Yes.
Okay. Blanco Reader?
No.
And me, no. Okay.
Okay, motion fails. Okay, next up is serving our public 4.0. This is on collection management. And, I think a lot, as trustees, it's, we'd like to maybe learn a little bit more about how you go about deciding on the collection management of, you know, what sources you use to make decisions on what books to purchase, reviews or things like that. The amount of checkouts on other similar books, things like that. Yeah.
The review sources and selection tools.
Okay, just wanted to.
Yeah, so we do receive things like the library journal that has reviews in there that gets reviewed and
That's right.
that's one of the resources we use. We look at who's been popular in the past, we look at how other similar things in the collection have circulated.
Just holds in general,
Holds in
how
general.
popular an item is in the software.
So holds in general throughout the library system, okay.
So I mean, there are a number of different facets that go into that decision making. It's not just a one thing and done, it's multiple considerations.
I have a question. So when I'm in Libby and I search and it comes up, but we don't have it in our catalog, and I hit Smart Tag, does that like notify you that somebody in your system is interested in this item? I'm just curious. I was just curious if it does anything.
We got a handful of
There
form,
is-
Kelly.
You know,
There is.
I'm just curious.
Putting a smart tag on it is for your reference only.
Okay. So Libby
There
doesn't actually
is-
do anything like that.
There should be a way to recommend for purchase. But I'm in charge of our ebook and the audiobook purchasing. I'm gonna tell you right now, we have way more requests than we have funds to actually go
Yeah.
through it. So I have to look at how many people have requested it.
Right.
And make a determination as to which one is proving to be the most
Okay.
in demand and then go from
Yeah.
there.
So, but you do see the requests, obviously, to make it a decision.
If someone has gone through the
Yeah.
request for,
Okay.
yeah.
Alright,
It suggests, requests, something along those lines.
alright.
So yeah, that does come to me, that is stuff that I look at
Okay.
when I'm doing the selection process. Cause I wanna try and get what people are requesting.
Right.
So,
So is that the same with you, Matt?
I'll look at so there's a couple of things that I look at too, so like who we do the bulk of our ordering through Ingram will show me how many other libraries are purchasing. So if 3 other libraries are purchasing it worldwide, it's like, probably not gonna be too popular. If you've got a more popular.
Okay, so they're doing worldwide or?
I believe at least nationwide, if not worldwide.
Nationwide.
so when it comes to book purchasing, we have the purchase request form, or magazines or whatever, something more tangible in nature. We have that purchase request form in place, and so then that is something that is being reviewed. And as much as we can, we've been trying to get things off of that.
Yeah, just like if somebody requests a title, I'll do my best. I mean, there are times that we've said no to people.
Like there was-
Sometimes there's
we've
a
had a request for-
$548 book.
Yeah, I was
Over
just
half
gonna
of
bring
the
that up.
budget
Yeah.
for the month.
Yeah.
So that plays a role in a lot of it too.
Price or, I mean, sometimes once in a
Pricing.
while, I might get a request to purchase a book because somebody thinks we should own it from 1997. Well, it's a pretty dated book at that point, but it's available at 73 other libraries, so
Yeah,
Right.
might as well
that's the
source it.
thing, is that we have the share program, so
Right.
no library can have everything.
Right.
So if there's a lot of other libraries that already have that title, I mean, there's a lot of things that I request that we don't have. And it's not a problem whatsoever, because it doesn't take very long before I get it. And I think that that's a great way to do it, because then that takes the burden off of us having to have that many more things.
Right, we don't have the budget to buy everything, wish we did, but
Yeah.
sadly we don't,
Yeah.
so, right.
What about like DVDs and things like that? Because I mean, so many people are doing streaming online. I mean, is it as
And yes, the cost of
necessary?
it going up, DVDs are still either our top or second top
Is
circulated
it?
collection.
And I can't say we get many DVD
Not so much
purchase
on the
requests.
juvenile side of it.
Yeah,
Those tend to be covered, I think a lot of parents are doing streaming services for that,
and
But-
they're not making juvenile DVDs.
hardly at all.
Right,
So on the adult side of it, the adult DVD, feels so good
Yeah,
to say that.
but it
Terrible.
Go right into the trap.
Um,
You said it yourself.
The DVDs on the main floor, those again are, if not the top circulating collection, the second top circulating collection, because there are still a lot of people who can't afford the streaming services, who you know, wanna go back and watch old things that aren't available on streaming services. Like, the number of people who go back and watch the westerns from the 1950s and 60s and stuff. So it's the back catalog on the DVD side.
So it's good for us to
That
know
gets
that,
used
because, you know, I had no idea, because, you know, you think that there's so much streaming that they're not as needed, but it's good to know that you said that that's one of them.
So when purchasing, since I do the selections, the DVDs also, we don't get too many like patron requests for purchasing a DVD in like a specific DVD. So when I do purchasing of the DVDs each month, we can run a list in our software that shows us the most in-demand titles, so that I usually try to get a copy of each title, the title for each building, and then if it's a like huge heavy hitter, then try to get that Blu-ray copy as well for Express.
Yeah, because I wondered why you did sometimes, you're showing like two of them you bought. And but one's a Blu-ray and one's another.
Yeah, so right, it'll be either one for each building, or sometimes if there's a third one, the one will be a Bluray for
Excuse me, guys.
Express.
We're in
Teachers
a
calling.
later one.
Okay,
Wow.
well, then, any other
But-
questions or
That's how
anything?
and when
No,
and
okay.
possible
So-
timing.
Any questions I have, I can ask it.
So can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I second it.
And
That would
Kathy
be-
second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is 9:15. I figured it would be, I told you, we're gonna have a 7 o'clock meeting tonight.
Who seconded that?